Welcome to this tutorial on creating a black and white image and then reintroducing some of the original color back into the image. So for this tutorial we're going to use this image here. I'm going to just click on it and drag it over to the GIMP workspace and drop it to open it. With this image we're going to use this flower, this withering flower in the foreground, and we're going to change the rest of the image to black and white and leave this flower in color. So for that we'll be using a duplicate layer and we'll be using a layer mask. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is create a duplicate layer. I do that by clicking on the duplicate layer icon in the layer menu down here. So once you have the duplicate layer selected, we're going to turn it into a black and white image. So I'm going to do that by going to colors and then going to saturation and turning the saturation all the way down and click on OK. We're going to use a layer mask then to reintroduce the color here, but first we need to make our selection. So to do that I'm going to disable this duplicate layer and select the layer below. And now we're going to go ahead and make our selection by using the selection tool, foreground select. So in order to do that we just start by making a point here, left clicking and drawing around. It doesn't have to be an accurate shape around the flower because the algorithm will separate the flower in the foreground from the background. And then once you've reached the other side, make sure to click on the first point that you selected. So now we have a rough selection here. You can go ahead and hit enter. So this enters into the foreground selection mode. We need to paint it over the object that we want to select. So here you see draw foreground and we can start painting over this. So the painting color when I start painting will be black. The size of the brush, which I've selected here, is 35. You can change this if you want, but 35 is about a good size. So I'm going to left click, hold down the mouse button and just draw inside the object that I want to select. Again, it doesn't have to be super accurate. And then I just draw a little bit inside of this. You don't need to fill in the entirety of this. You just need to delineate the area that you want to select. And I release the mouse button and it becomes clear. Now before hitting the select button up here, I recommend checking feather edges and choosing a feather value. For this I'm going to choose a value of 10. And now I'm going to go over and hit select. The algorithm runs and it selects the flower in the foreground. Now I'm going to select my duplicate layer, which was black and white. I'm going to enable the layer by turning on the eye icon, and I'm going to create a layer mask using this selection. When this selection is enabled, it will create a mask from this selected area. Make sure you choose selection when you're adding the layer mask to the duplicate layer and click add. Once you have the selection made, then we just need to invert it, so we'll get an accurate layer mask when we add this to the duplicate layer. You can do this by going to select, invert. Now enable your duplicate layer, which was black and white. Make sure it's selected by clicking on it once. Come down here to add layer mask icon in the layer panel. Click once, and before you click add, make sure selection is selected here and click add. Now you have your background in black and white and the flower in color. You can remove the selected lines by going to the select menu and clicking on none. And that's your final image. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Thank you for watching.